In Martin Scorsese's The Irishman, Jimmy Hoffa is robbed out by the mob after he begins claiming in public that he will expose the Teamsters Union's dealings with the Mafia. When he was president of the Teamsters, Hoffa provided the Mafia with loans so they could build lavish casinos and real estate. When Hoffa was sent to prison and Frank Fitzsimmons took over the Union, due to Fitzsimmons' lax attitude and his fear of the Mafia, the mob found it a lot easier to work with him. As a result, they tried to persuade Hoffa not to rerun for presidency of the Teamsters, telling him to retire instead and enjoy his grandchildren. Hoffa turned this down, as shown in The Irishman. The Teamsters Union was his pride and joy, and he would do everything in his power to regain and maintain control of it. As we all know, it didn't end well for Hoffa, because after the mob had run out of patience with his outbursts on TV and with the media, they had him killed. Now, anyone in Hoffa's position would surely know that they were in grave danger with what they were saying in public. Hoffa was warned numerous times by the mob, but he still considered himself untouchable. As shown by Hoffa's reaction during Frank Sheeran Appreciation Night, Hoffa is stupefied that organised crime figures would even dream of killing him, repeatedly telling Frank Sheeran, his close friend who would eventually kill him, that they wouldn't dare. There's several reasons why Hoffa would think that he was untouchable, like him being so close with made men such as Russell Buffalino, the fact that he had made the mob so much money over the years, but it seems that Hoffa was also blinded by his ego not to see how much danger he was in. But he also had a contingency, as he tells Sheeran, when he explains that if anything funny happens to him, he has records stashed away that would result in the incarceration of major organised crime figures. These records, of course, would be evidences of illegitimate loans and deals made with racketeers which Hoffa assumed was strong enough that the mob wouldn't dare touch him. He also tells Sheeran, "I know things they don't know I know." This is a very interesting line, which isn't expanded upon further. It's all and well Hoffa having knowledge and records of deals he himself made with the mob, but for Hoffa to suggest that he knew of things even the Mafia themselves didn't know he knew begs the question, just what secret knowledge did Hoffa have? To dig deeper with this, we have to take a look into the book The Irishman is based on, Charles Brandt's I Heard You Paint Houses. The book contains many details surrounding the crimes of the mob that are left out of the film. The most significant one is the suggestion in the novel that organised crime members played a part in the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. One of the most prevalent JFK assassination conspiracy theories, which is further fueled by the book, is that JFK was killed by the CIA with the help of the Mafia. The two organisations had done dealings together previously, such as when the CIA recruited members of organised crime to assassinate Cuban leader Fidel Castro. The CIA had reasons to want JFK out of the way, as many say that JFK wanted to dissolve the Central Intelligence Agency, amongst numerous other reasons. Likewise, the mob wanted JFK eliminated as they saw his and his brother Bobby Kennedy's war on organised crime as a direct betrayal, as La Cosa Nostra members such as Sam Giancana helped get JFK elected in the first place, and then he went after them after he had reached the top seat. The Mafia also wanted Castro dead after he threw them out of Cuba, and the lucrative casinos that the mob controlled were no longer in their hands. Naturally then, the failed Bay of Pigs invasion would have made the Mafia furious with JFK. Hoffa also hated the Kennedys, again for numerous reasons. Some were very simple, such as he felt that they had gotten their positions on a plate without having to work for it. But he was also a victim of the Kennedys' war on organised crime. Bobby Kennedy specifically was a staunch enemy of Hoffa, and even created a Get Hoffa squad intent on sending him to jail. Hoffa was aware that if JFK left his post as president or was killed, Bobby Kennedy would also lose his power. And he mentions this very fact when he tells reporters that Bobby Kennedy is just another lawyer now, after the shooting of JFK in The Irishman. The Irishman movie never goes as far as to make the claim that the Mafia were involved in the assassination of President Kennedy. Director Martin Scorsese only allowed one reference to this in the film, when mob boss Russell Buffalino says, "If they can whack a president, they can whack the president of a union." The book goes a step further by saying the JFK murder was at least in part a mob hit, and undoubtedly this is one of the things that Hoffa would have known about, as the book also suggests he may have been involved, as in part of the reason JFK was killed by the mob may have been as a favour to Hoffa. This is alluded to in a scene that is in the film but is longer in the book, when Russell Bufalino tells Jimmy Hoffa that he might be demonstrating a failure to show appreciation. In the book, after Bufalino says this, he leans in closer and adds, "for Dallas," meaning the JFK assassination, and it is a comment that the usually boisterous Hoffa does not respond to, instead remaining quiet, showing that this statement meant something. So clearly, if Hoffa had tapes or records that proved certain underworld individuals were involved in the murder of a president, it would mean huge red flags for the mob if Hoffa was willing to expose this. The book also goes into further detail as to what exactly Hoffa meant when he said, "I know things they don't know I know." After Frank Sheeran Appreciation Night, in which Bufalino failed to convince Hoffa to retire, and he then tells Sheeran to talk to Hoffa, the two men meet in a hotel to discuss matters. Hoffa was irate, telling Sheeran that everyone was afraid of what he knows, and that now he knew who his real friends were. After Sheeran tells Hoffa that he is saying a lot of things that have the mob concerned, Hoffa says, "That's just the tip of the iceberg, the tip of the iceberg. Let me tell you. Dallas, did you hear that word tonight? Remember that package you took to Baltimore? I didn't know it then, but it turns out it was high-powered rifles for the Kennedy hit in Dallas. The stupid bastards lost their own rifles in the trunk of a Thunderbird that crashed when the driver got drunk. That pilot for Carlos was involved in delivering the replacements that you brought down. Those fuckers used both of us on that deal. We were patsies. What'd you think of that? They had fake cops and real cops involved in it. Jack Ruby's cops were supposed to take care of Oswald, but Ruby bungled it. That's why he had to go in and finish the job on Oswald. If he didn't take care of Oswald, what do you think they would have done to him? Put Ruby on a meat hook. Don't kid yourself. Santo and Carlo and Giancana and some of their element, they were all in on Kennedy. Every single one of the same cast of characters that were in on the Bay of Pigs. They even had a plot to kill Castro with Momo and Roselli. I've got enough to hang everybody, and every last bit of it comes out if anything unnatural happens to me. They will all pay. All those who fucked with me will pay." Frank Sheeran was shocked but wisely remained silent. He didn't want his voice picked up if the room was bugged. But Hoffa's tirade shows that he was aware of intricate details of the JFK assassination, not to mention the mob's links with the CIA to kill Castro. It's clear now, even more than before, why the mob was so uneasy with Hoffa's threats. And he doesn't stop there, because Hoffa goes on to say, "My Irish friend, there are things I can't tell you because it would cost you your life to know them. There are secret things I have known, seen and supported that would rock this nation." Hoffa then went on to tell Sheeran secret information concerning the Mafia, but Sheeran himself did not disclose this information in the book I Heard You Paint Houses. He mentions in the book that the information revealed by Hoffa was not for publication. He then says, "I can't say I knew them all, anyway, but I knew most of them and I suspected some of the others." Whatever this secret knowledge was, I guess we'll never know, seeing as though both Hoffa and Sheeran and most involved with their story are all dead now. But clearly, Hoffa had enough information to make the mob uneasy enough to feel the need to silence him once and for all, in spite of how close the mob and Hoffa had been once upon a time. Thanks for watching.